Hey everyone, Merry Christmas. It's Don Chin here. This is my first live stream. I've been on YouTube mainly as a real estate guy, but I've got a history in comic books, and this is something near and dear to me, is to get back into comic books, because my wife and I published comic books for a living way back in the 90s. Kind of got my start in the early 80s. And just kind of went through a time when I wasn't really creating much, but it kind of seemed like a good time to get back into the industry. So I've been meeting some people that I've known from the past and new friends in the comic book community. I've been doing this for, almost 30 years, but it's kind of a new thing now where people are doing what's called crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is where you go directly to your consumer and sell your comic books, and you don't really have a distributor that would send them to a comic book store. So my first comic books that I've been buying crowdfunding-wise have been ones that people know, like Cyberfrog. That's a really big one. And I've been getting a few books here and there. But one that I am very excited about that I'm going to be opening tonight is called USAssassin, or USAssassin. I'm not exactly sure how they pronounce it, but it's by a couple of guys back east. Mark Poulton is the writer, and Mike McMahon is the artist. And I've got some royalty-free Christmas music in the background, but I guess it has ads. So I guess I'm going to squelch that, because we don't want to hear ads every 5 minutes. But anyways, I hope you guys are having a really great holiday season. I know it's kind of a weird year because of COVID and having to not be able to gather much and wear masks. And it's just, it's a little depressing. But, ultimately, love will bring us together, and I think it'll get us through this. And so I'm going to be kind of putting on my inner nerd tonight and opening up a gift, kind of an early Christmas present. My wife was kind enough to let me support this comic book project by Mark and Mike. And so this is the most expensive comic book project that I've supported to date. Most crowdfunded books are running about $25 a piece, plus shipping. So that's quite a bit more than what we used to have to pay anybody that's bought a comic book in the last, 10 or 20 years would probably just expect to pay a few bucks for a comic book. But the print runs on the comics they shrunk quite a bit. And so it's not really feasible for smaller publishers to go through a distributor, because the distributor will take about 30%, 40%, and then the comic book retailer has to mark up the comic book as well. So if you're selling a comic book back in the old days and you were selling it for $3, you were actually kind of selling it for more like $1 to the distributor. And so this new model that creators are using these days is going directly to consumer. And so me and my friend Bill Mouse and my wife, we're actually going to be publishing our own book soon, which is called X-FARCE Reloaded. And I'll talk more about that in the future. But anyways, I'll get on with this unboxing. Like I said, it's kind of like an early Christmas present. And I am going to also be on another show later tonight. If you'd like to pop in, you can learn about X-FARCE, because I'll be showing images from X-FARCE, as well as showing a comic book trailer, kind of a movie cinematic style trailer that we're in the process of editing and producing. And we've almost got the final cut. So it'll be kind of like a soft premiere of that. Anyways, without further ado, here's the box that I actually just received. Was it yesterday? I think it was either yesterday or today. It came via the US Post Office. And like I said, most of these books for a standard, 32 to 48 page comic book, they're running about $25 a piece. But like I said, the print runs on them are substantially lower than what you would see from Marvel or DC comic books. So a print run on a book like USAssassin or X-FARCE, we might publish maybe 1,000 to 3,000 if we're successful. Most of the people that are doing crowdfunding these days that are making good money are selling a lot more than that. Probably like Cyberfrog probably sells 8 to 10,000 copies. And his crowdfunding campaign has hit as high as like $1 million to $1.4 million just on a single issue. So there is a career to be had in comics if you do it the right way, and you have to have good product to match it. Now, USAssassin is kind of a throwback book to, I think what Mark said was his love of G.I. Joe. And you can kind of see maybe an 80s, 90s influence in this comic book. I have never read it before, and this is the second book in the series. So I think I asked Mark to maybe send me the first issue so I knew what the character is about. But I think he's kind of a soldier for hire, mercenary, likes to use weapons, and I think he's got a sidekick German Shepherd dog that's his best friend and his companion in fighting. So I like those elements, action, animals, letting the bad guys have it. So without any further ado, I'm going to be opening USAssassin, the collector's box. This is, I think, the locker room box, or locker box is what they were pitching it. Okay, so Mike McMahon, who's our artist on this series, is in the chat. Hi, Mike. And he is telling me that the first issue reprint and the first printing are in this footlocker. So that's kind of the perk you get when you spend more money with these creators. And there's also supposed to be, I think, some sketch cards, maybe some original art in here. And I'm not sure what kind of slipcase it comes in, but I'm excited just because I've kind of met these guys online, and now I get to check out what their final product is. And believe me, comic books are a lot of work. You may just think, oh, it's, a guy writes and then does a script, and then it goes to an artist. It's a really complicated assembly line process, and it's not a quick process. I'm not sure how long Mike and Mark worked on this, but I would say probably, like, what do you say, Mike? Maybe half a year? You could probably let me know in the chat. But if you can get maybe 2 or 3 books out a year as a creator, I think that's not bad. When I was publishing and I had a bunch of people working for me, I would be able to get out, maybe 4 or 5 books a month. And now just doing X-FARCE on my own and realizing, I've got 7 different stories with a bunch of different creative teams, and it's kind of like trying to corral, rabbits. So it's not an easy thing, but it's fun because you get to interact with people. Your creative juices get going, and when you see the final product, when it comes from the printer, it's just a high that I can't really express, because you've created this thing in your mind, and then it gets translated by a coworker onto paper. And right now, digital media is very popular. So a lot of these comic books are done without even drawing on a drawing board. A lot of comic book artists are drawing directly on a digital pad and then making a computer file. And then that computer file gets to be colored and then lettered. So in the old school, like Jack Kirby and Stan Lee days, everything was done on a piece of paper, and they would draw it. Most people don't know this, but comic books, they're small, 6 by whatever, but they're drawn like 11 by 17, and then they're reduced down to the printed size that you see. So when you see an actual piece of comic book work, which I'll show you a piece right here. This is the cover to X-FARCE, which is what Bill Mouse is drawing. This is his reinterpretation of his 1992 X-FARCE cover that was done with Eclipse Comics. So Bill drew this totally by hand with pencil, and then he gave us a digital inked version of it, and then he actually inked, I think, a digital inked version of that as well. But in the campaign for X-FARCE that we'll be launching hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have artwork for sale and sketch cards and all sorts of fun stuff, lunch boxes and so forth. So anyways, that was Bill's X-FARCE. And this was like the original X-FARCE from Eclipse back in 1992. So you can kind of see Bill's come quite a long ways, you know, from here and there. And he's really excited to be working again with us at Parody Press. We were kind of in a dormant stage for quite a while, but we're coming back. So I know Mike is in the, oh, Mike still has his copy of X-FARCE. That's cool. I'll have to figure it out. Maybe someday we'll have Mike and Mark on this show, and I can find out how Mike met Bill, because Mike says that he knows Bill. And I'm over on the West Coast in California, and Bill's over in Virginia Beach. And I think Mark is a New Jersey guy. Mike, where are you from? Let me know in the chat where you're from. But, you know, with the internet and FedEx, and it's almost like you can do comic books anywhere these days and just work. Okay, so Mike's in Illinois. So I'll have to find out, you know, the backstory between Mike and Mark and how they met each other and how the first USA Assassin. Maybe Mike, you can correct me. Is it US Assassin or USA Assassin? I don't want to keep botching the name if I am, but I really, when I saw this campaign being advertised on the internet, I gravitated towards it because it looked something like I would enjoy doing myself, you know, back in the day. So, okay, so Mike says this, the first one was US, did I say US Assassin? Is that correct? I don't know. First one, I think I said US Assassin. Anyways, it's really cool. Mike and Mark are going to be doing a crossover with a really, really popular title that Mark co-writes already called Graveyard Shift. And I'm new to that series as well. It's something that he co-created with another popular creator named John Malin. And that book is probably one of the top crowdfunded books for the last couple of years. And I think I looked at the campaign on it on Indiegogo recently, and it was, you know, close to $300,000 in backing. So it's a whole new frontier for comic book creators. And I kind of see that this is kind of the wave of the future, because we see, you know, Marvel and DC are having some financial troubles. They're starting to cut back on their books. And I just think the traditional way of distributing is kind of going through a state of flux right now. So enough of being a tease here tonight. I've got my handy X-Acto knife, and I'm going to go ahead and open up this bad boy. It's pretty heavy. It feels like it's like 5 pounds. So that's a lot of paper. Hey, Mike, how many collector's boxes did you guys offer? Was it? I know I was watching your stream. It was kind of like your closeout stream, and you were talking with you know, some other guys that worked on the project, and it was just a few. Wow, there's only 15 of what I'm going to open in existence. So that's pretty scarce. So that's why I'm really excited, because this isn't just, oh, sorry, my dogs are barking. You'll have to excuse me. Okay, so anyways, I open this up. And I think Mark and his family actually physically package these. These don't come from the printer directly to the consumer. What happens with a crowdfunding book is they ship the printed copies to you, the creator, and then you, the creator, have to go through and send every individual book that was bought directly to the consumer. So it's a lot of work on the back end to do these projects, because you can imagine you've got tons of shipping supplies. You have to buy a digital, printer for your postage. Yeah, Mike says all the books are in Mark's basement, and I've got an extra long garage full of all the past comic books that we did with Parody Press and Entity Comics, Eclipse Comics, as well as my own collection. And I've been trying to kind of sell them off piecemeal on eBay. It's a slow process. You have to take pictures and then describe it, put a price on it, and then just hope that you get the right price point. So that's one thing that I'm learning. I'm watching these pros that have done crowdfunding successfully to see, what I need to do to do it right. It'd be nice to break even. I think I will break even, but it's still fun. Even if we don't hit like huge numbers, I'll still be excited just to see the comic books get back into print. And the cool thing about X-FARCE is that it was in black and white in 1992. And so X-FARCE Reloaded is basically bringing back the best X-FARCE story and the best Unfunny X-Con story, and adding some new stories in with it. So it's kind of an anthology mix of 7 different mutant stories, old and new, all in digital color. So everything that was once in black and white will be in nice digital color that no one's ever seen before. So it'll be really cool, and on nice glossy paper, and a nice cover stock. So anyways, bubble wrap is being revealed here. Okay. Oh yes. So this doesn't come in every locker room box. Is that what you guys called it, Mike? Foot Locker. Sorry, this is called the Foot Locker box. That's right. Because we were kind of joking about Foot Locker, the shoes. I think I asked if maybe Mike and Mark could send me a pair of autographed sneakers, but I don't see them in here. So when I first backed USAssassin, I signed up for just one comic book cover, which was the Cedric Nokan variant cover. And I'm not sure how many variants they did in total on this project, but the reason why I picked out Ced's cover was not only did it look absolutely insane, because it had like these bullets flying at you in full 3D with the German Shepherd in action and stuff. Ced actually used to do some pinups for me when I was doing Entity Comics in the 90s. So I kind of had I guess my heartstrings were pulled to see a guy still doing comics, 20, 30 years later, and he's doing it for this book. So that was the cover that I originally picked up for like $25. And then when Mark and Mike and the gang were pitching their last night of their campaign, I think they were up until like 3 a.m. You guys were pretty groggy, but I just felt inspired. I said, man, I got to have one of those Foot Lockers, because those look really cool. Because Mark was showing off the nice case, behind him, and I was going, yeah, that's pretty sweet. And my wife and I had to get her permission, because $200 is a lot to spend on a comic book. And she gravitates towards Mark. I think she says Mark has nice hair, so that helps. But anyways, we went ahead and bit the bullet and spent the $200. And I think maybe that was your ploy, Mike and Mark, was to stream really late at night when our defenses to buy were low, kind of like QVC, when you're up at 1 o'clock in the morning and you're going, I really need that, thing that's $400, and then you wind up not ever using it. So he says, shh, yeah, that was it. So anyways, I told Mark that I wasn't familiar with Graveyard Shift, and I think it's kind of set like a team of horror horror heroes that are turned superheroes, maybe like werewolves and vampires and stuff like that. And so it's almost like a Monster Squad type of book. And the artwork, just from what I've seen on the previous issues and just the current campaign, are just phenomenal. In fact, Rob Willis, who is the artist of the current Graveyard Shift upcoming book, I think it's Graveyard Shift 3 maybe is what he's drawing. Rob is actually doing a cover for our X-FARCE book, which we're still waiting with bated breath to get, and we're hoping that he'll have something for us to show. Okay, so Mike says Graveyard Shift is what if the Universal Studios monsters were the X-Men. So that's the pitch line on it. So you can imagine that would be pretty cool to have, like, you know, Frankenstein, werewolf, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula as the X-Men. So I could see that as a movie. You know, I would think that Hollywood's attention would be perked by something with that kind of concept. So I asked Mark, because I knew that Ced's variant cover was already going to be in the Foot Locker. I said, hey, Mark, can you send me something different? Because I don't really think I need 2 copies of Cedric's USAssassin cover. I'd rather have something new. So he, oh, that's cool. And this is all nice and bagged and boarded, you know, so you don't get your little grubby, greasy fingers on it, because my fingers are a little sticky right now. So this is the Graveyard Shift, volume 1. So this probably collects the first maybe 1 or 2 issues. I'm not sure, but there's a signature right on it with a kind of an ink metallic pen. I think that's probably Mark's signature. I've never had anything with his signature on it before, but it has a nice trade paperback, you know, graphic novel feel to it. And this seems like it's sold really well. I can just tell, I mean, just I'm just gonna thumb through it a little bit. You can see like the lettering. It's all feels kind of like a really nice Marvel or Image book, and the coloring is top notch. Let's see who the credits are on this. So Mark Poulton is the story and writer. John Malin, who has credits with Marvel's, I think he did Cable, Deadpool, probably some X-Men titles, and he's been a big supporter of independent comic book creators lately. Does a lot of shows, streaming shows. In fact, I was just on his show last night. It's called Comicsgate Presents. And so we were going over all the newest 2021 comics that are coming out. Eric Weathers, also a guy with really good hair, does the letters in this book. And the colors are by a gentleman named Anthony George. And this was printed in 2019, second printing. So it was obviously popular enough that they wanted to warrant a second printing. But I can't wait to read it. It looks really cool. It does have a very X-Men-y flair, which you would probably imagine because of John Malin's, you know, mutant experience. So anyways, I'm looking forward to Graveyard Shift. And so now I'll know what Graveyard Shift is about, you know, when this 3rd issue comes out. Oh yeah, wow. So this is pretty sweet. I mean, it feels like it's got girth and is really slick, really glossy. I mean, this is probably one of the nicest cases I've seen. I don't have very many comic books in cases. In fact, I can't recall if I have any. This might be like one of the nicest kind of holding boxes that seems to be kind of a trend, is that guys are getting, they're doing like these collector's boxes. I know Ethan Van Sciver has been doing that, and Pete at Alterna Comic Books is doing kind of like these customized cases that hold the issue that you're supporting. So that might be a future ambition for me. I've got enough, you know, I'm biting off with just doing X-FARCE and also holding down a full-time job as a realtor. So, you know, but I love comics, and I've got a lot of passion and energy, and you can just tell by the way that this product feels in your hands. These guys really paid a lot of attention to detail. So according to Mike in the chat, there's only 15 of these in existence. I think, you know, that's the thing about these books. Even though the print runs aren't like an X-Men book or like Captain America or Batman and Superman, the collectability, I think, is going to be there for a long time because they're going to be scarce because you're only getting, you know, print runs of less than 10,000. And I think that this audience is going to do nothing but grow in the future as these products catch on and more people see them and they want to get the back issues, which are, you know, it's going to be hard to get them. So without further ado, it's like a black, oh man, it's got like a magnetic, you know, closure device on it. So it just clicks and has a magnetic action to it. No Velcro or anything. It's just really, really streamlined. So then you open it up and the different covered books are all in this cool case. And there's, looks like Mike drew this. So that's example of Mike's artwork. He's super cool. What's the name of the, Mike, if you're still in the chat, what's the name of the dog? He's kind of like a cybernetic robot dog. He looks like he's part robot and part animal. But anyway, so you open this up and then it looks like there's like 4 different volumes inside here. His name is Bazooka Dog. Oh, this is cool. So I'm going to put this gently over here. Sorry if you hear some company in my house. I think my grandkids just got here from Sacramento. I haven't seen them in a few months, and they probably know that I'm I'm live streaming. So one of the cool things in this special Foot Locker box with USAssassin is, like I said, original artwork. And Mark, who's the writer, actually was saying that he's going to be doing a drawing with the Foot Locker box. So lo and behold, I got my own Mark Poulton Bazooka Dog sketch. He's pretty good. I like that. I've been lately been trying my hand on the drawn and quartered show with Mike Miller, and I'm not an artist by, you know, I used to cartoon when I was in high school and I doodle. So when I get on this show with guys like Elliot Fernandez and Mike and Matt Cosin and Matthew Weldon, I mean, they blow me away, but I figured that's my aspiration, is to maybe get on that show and win on my own merit someday. So on one side of this really nicely preserved package is Mark's sketch, and then on the back, this is super cool. This is Mike's. Also, this is a hand-drawn sketch. It's on, seems like it might be like on a backing board size piece of paper. So definitely suitable for framing. It's one of a kind. You can see, you know, the organic pen and ink work on this. I mean, you know, he looks pretty bad, like badass. I like that. So anyways, this is the main character. And so you've got, you know, for $200 to get 2 pretty nicely, nice big sketches from the main contributors is a nice one of a kind perk. All right, so man, these guys are thick. It's like you could defend yourself if someone broke into your house. You could bap somebody pretty good, and I think you'd daze them, because these comic books feel super heavy. They're not, you know, chintzy light newsprint. Not to say that newsprint comics are bad, but you know, this whole thing is like 5 pounds of entertainment pleasure here. So the very first one I'm going to show you is this cover. I don't know if this, maybe Mike could tell us what edition this is, but Hi, Indie Comics Relay. Hey, it's Keith. Keith from Indie Comics Relay. Thanks for joining my first live stream, buddy. I'm testing the waters because I'm not a live stream guy. I mean, I've been on live streams, but I've never hosted my own. And I figured, I need to use StreamYard, which seems to be the one that everybody uses. But I was kind of in a hurry, so I said I don't have the learning curve to do StreamYard tonight, but I do want to get on and just say hi to everybody. So this is using the YouTube built-in live stream. It seems like it's working. So Mike says this is volume 1, first printing, and it is signed right here. Mike, did you sign any of these too, or is it just Mark? Because I know shipping kind of gets a little intense when you have to ship like pounds and pounds of books between Illinois and New Jersey. It really kind of cuts into your profit margin. So sometimes I understand why the main guy that's shipping out the books would be the one to sign, because that's probably what's going to happen with us on X-FARCE. Is I'm going to sign most of the books because they're coming to California, and then I'm going to ship them to the consumer. And because Bill is over on the East Coast, it doesn't really make a lot of financial sense to have us ship them like a couple times across the United States. But we are going to have, Mike said, just Mark signed them because of COVID. He couldn't fly to New Jersey. So that kind of sucks, but you're there in spirit, definitely, Mike, with the cool sketch. I feel your creative vibe, and I'm sure that there might be some other cool things to talk about. So anyways, Mark signs it again. He's got a real easy signature. I mean, almost looks like a pie sign or something like that. It's right there. So cool. Okay, so let me show you what else you get in this. So on the back side is some cool perks. There's probably like a little print and a trading card set. Yeah, Keith, it does look great, huh? And I think this is this comic book is still what they call is in demand, which means you can still buy it as they have quantities left. And I think Mark also has an Etsy store where he sells kind of more rare type of things, based on his campaigns. It might be Graveyard Shift, it might be USAssassin, whatever. But they're already signing up for the Graveyard Shift USAssassin team up, which will probably come in 2021. And I think Mike might be drawing it. Is that the plan, Mike? Maybe you can put who the creators are in the chat. And once the stream is over and I get a chance to fine tune it, I will put links to the various campaigns that I'm talking about. So if you see something that makes you excited, you could click on the link and see if you'd like to buy it yourself. So this is the cool stuff that you get in the back side of issue number 1, first printing, volume number 1. So Mark was kind enough to tell me, some of the different printers he uses for trading cards, because we're going to be doing like X-FARCE trading cards. So there's a set of 4 USAssassin trading cards, which I'll definitely be putting in those cool protective holders. And then on the back side of the trading cards, you've got like their little profile of who they are, what their abilities and origin are. So these are really cool. They smell like UV coating and really professional. I mean, these are just as good as any comic book trading card that you're going to see come from any major publisher like Marvel or DC. They're just really slick, and yeah, I don't know what your print runs were on these, Mike, but these are really, really nice. You can see. So Bazooka Dog has he's all equipped with like a cannon, and he's got like all this robotic cool stuff. This would be great in a movie. I can tell you, he's just primed for toys. I don't know if you guys are planning on an action figure or whatnot, but I would buy a USAssassin action figure with the Bazooka Dog accessory. Does he Hey, Mike, does he poop batteries or is he I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering. I'll ask Mark. All right, so let's see. Real cool here, you know, kind of like maybe a 1.5, 2 inch sticker, USAssassin sticker. That's really cool. Nice and glossy. And then this is a nice little print. If you want, you know, you can hang that up in your hobby room, or that's really nice. Did you do that? No, it looks like someone named Dex has the artist credit on that, but that's super cool. You know, USAssassin kind of reminds me of, you know, those guys from kind of like Taskmaster and Deathstroke. Those guys that can basically not just shoot, but also handle like a sword and stuff. I kind of like, you know, that kind of shrouded, bad to the bone, gritty guy. You know, it feels, you know, has definitely a ninja assassin type of feel to it. Oh yeah, so Mike says Deathstroke was his inspiration. Deathstroke was, I think he was made popular like in the Teen Titans when George Perez was drawing that, and I used to read that comic book pretty frequently. I think Marv Wolfman and George Perez did the Teen Titans in the 80s. And so that came with a real nice print. Okay, so here I do have, I don't know if it's, Chase Poulton. Wow. I was wondering whose second signature that was on there. I was going, maybe Mike signed it, but I think this is a USAssassin, you know, little cool print card, full color, looks pretty cool. This ghoulish guy in the back is probably I would assume some kind of villain, kind of has that Ghost Rider vibe to it. But I think Chase, according to Mark, is his son, his teenage son. And I think, if I can recall right, he actually co-created maybe the character that is being shown here. Either I'm not sure if it's the smaller character or the larger character, but that's so cool to see a kid follow in his, you know, in his dad's footsteps. Okay, so Mike in the chat is saying this is just a representation of death, and it definitely is eerie. So you know, this is really cool. You get a signed card by Mark and also his son, and I think that is really sweet that his son shares a love of comics alongside his dad. So Mike is saying that Chase created Slither and Bazooka Dog with Mark. So wow, that's cool. I bet that, man, if I was like, I don't know how old Chase is, but if I was a kid and my dad was a comic book guy, that would, when that book got in my hands that I helped co-create, I would just be, you know, on the moon. I'm sure that Chase, when he sees, you know, the actual printed thing in people's hands, and you know, I'm sure that eventually we'll get back to the point where we can do conventions again and meet each other face to face. And that's one thing I really miss, is going to conventions and meeting fans and seeing the cosplayers. I think at one convention we actually, I think one of my I think Bill's ex-wife like ran into Walter Koenig and actually knocked him down or something, or close to it. It was like jam-packed, and Chekhov was in the auditorium. I think it was a little rough and tumble in there. So it was, we have this saying like, back off, Chekhov, whenever somebody gets too close to us because of that incident. So anyways, this is all really cool perks that come in the Foot Locker. Okay, so these must be like the variant cover editions, which probably I would imagine have the same contents, but you just got different covers. So that's the cool thing about these campaigns, is that you can, you know, if you want to keep all the covers, you can, but if you want to give one away to a friend to share the story, or maybe to your son. That way you can still kind of keep a pristine copy for yourself if your kids aren't so careful with your books. But I don't think I'm going to let my grandkids touch these until I know they can, either they've washed their hands or we'll do something. I just have a feeling, as soon as a 12 or 13-year-old person gets a hold of these, they don't understand the I think the phobia that I have as a collector, to see a book go from pristine mint to like fine in a matter of a couple minutes, because I think they think that they don't have that type of white glove care that I have with my books, and that's I tell them with your trading cards, with your action figures, just treat them like they're your babies. And when you're my age, you will probably be able to pay your way through college if you kept it in mint condition and you sell on eBay. Because I've got all these 60s and 70s Marvels that are worth a lot of money now just from my own collection, and I get them graded, and they go up in value. So I'm trying to instill in them this kind of collector mentality that you don't necessarily have to open it, the Star Wars figure or whatnot. And my soon to be 16-year-old grandson's, he's starting to get that. So a lot of his Funko Pops, his Star Wars master collection figures are all like untouched. But when he was younger, he would just break those things open and just go play with them and not understand that you kind of ruin the collectability. But I know I'm a little anal in that way. I think there are toys you should definitely play with, and there's definitely toys that you can kind of hope that they'll go up in value. But so this is one of the variant covers on there. And let's see if I can tell who the cover is. Okay, so this is Cedric's, because it says CMNO on the cover. It's probably got a wraparound cover, so I only saw this in uncolored form. So you've got, oh yeah, this is sweet. I'm not sure how many pages you guys put in here. It feels like it's, I don't know, maybe 48, 64, 50, some increment of 8 is how many pages, interior pages you have in here. But yeah, it's all nice and square bound, and it's got the nice glossy UV coating. So he said each book is 50 to 60 pages. So Cedric did this awesome version. I think Cedric worked at Image. I'm not sure who else he's working for these days, but he definitely has what it takes to work for Marvel and DC. And then on the backside is Bazooka Dog. So it definitely has an Image feel to it. And then on the inside, Mike is the artist on it, and so you can kind of get an idea of his artwork. Really nice, Mike. Yeah, Mike, you've got a really good action style. I think one thing that Mark told me is that his writing style is he allows his artists to do a lot of splash action pages, and that's something that I'm learning to do. Sometimes I think I want to hog all the glory and have all my characters talk too much, and I need to let that go. let the artists do their thing. Because when you see like a comic book page and there's like 50% word balloons and captions, it doesn't really look good. I think the artists need to reel it in. The writers need to reel it in and let the artists do their thing, and then at times the artists need to reel it in and let the writers do their thing, so there's a healthy balance. But I like that. I think that's what draws people into comics, is that visual wow factor. The first time you saw Spider-Man or Superman and you opened up, it's got to be like the splash pages that are probably what really got you to buy the book visually, and then later on you get to appreciate the story, and you learn what good writing is. Guys like Chris Claremont and Walt Simonson and Frank Miller. There's guys that can do both good writing and good art. They're few and far between, but those are some good examples of guys that I grew up with. And you know, like Frank Miller's run on Daredevil is still, you know, to this day, it's still phenomenal and it still holds up. But anyways, this is Cedric's cover. And then this is, oh, I don't know if this is cover B or maybe Mike can say. On the inside front cover, it says who the different cover artists are. Okay. So Kevin Sharp is the artist on this one. What else has Kevin done, Mike, that I would know? Or has he worked for any of the big two, or does he have his own creation? He sounds familiar. I think I've heard that name over on Blacklist Universe. Maybe he did a Lone Star work or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, Kevin's got a cool, you know, like an Image vibe. Yeah, DC and Marvel. Oh, wow, Extreme X-Men. So you guys pulled in a lot of you know, veteran talent on this. It's impressive. Okay, so cover A was Mike and Anthony George. Cover B was Kevin and Frank Quanzo, and cover C was Cedric and Frank Quanzo. I would imagine Frank Quanzo is probably the colorist on these, so really nice. All right. So the other cover that I was tempted to get before I chose Cedric's originally was the Todd McFarlane homage, which I don't know who drew this one. You'll have to tell me. That's super sweet. I think maybe this guy was on your stream, the artist that did this. Like Mark's, there you go, Mark Yoon. Yeah, Mark did a really good job on this. So this is if you guys are comic book geeks, you'll know that this is the pose that was kind of the one that launched Todd McFarlane's career on Amazing Spider-Man. And you know, after he left Marvel Comics, he started Image and then just went off and created, you know, amazing Spawn and all the action figures that most people are familiar with. Quite a pioneer. So here we pay homage to the USAssassin McFarlane style by Mark Yoon, also signed by Mark Poulton. And then on the back, I think this is Mike's cover. It's got that G.I. Joe feel. Definitely feels like G.I. Joe. When I had a comic book store in the 80s, yeah, we sold the heck out of G.I. Joe. It was like the top comic book for eons. I never really got into G.I. Joe. I had G.I. Joe as a kid, the action figure, you know, the one with the stubbly beard and the scar, kind of, you know, about this size. And we would just like totally mangle those things just playing with them. But the smaller ones that I think came out from Kenner later on, I never collected those. I was more into the big G.I. Joes that actually had canvas clothes and stuff. So that kind of shows you how old I am, because I was, you know, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. But you know, they had the articulated fig, you know, you take off their clothes and you could see like the little you know, their joints and stuff. And then everybody would say, oh, you know, what doesn't G.I. Joe have anything down there? You know, when you take off his pants, they kept it anatomically vague down there. So I think maybe that created a lot of gender confusion for us kids back in the day, because you know, Barbie wasn't that way, but G.I. Joe was. Anyways, I don't want to get too far off on a tangent here, but anyways, guys, I am getting I'm way over what I thought I was going to do, because I'm excited about this project. I'm supposed to be in another stream tonight, but Mike, I'm so glad that you were here tonight to give me all the background information on USAssassin. I hope maybe someday me and Mike and Mark and Bill can, you know, maybe collaborate on something in the future. You know, it's a small comics community and we got to stick together. But I'm I'm looking forward to reading these, and if I have time to actually do a review of the contents, I definitely will do that. But just from the visuals and all the cool stuff that I got, I think that my money is well spent on this book. I am really tickled. There'll be additions to my collections that I won't part with, that I'll pass on to my grandsons once they learn to read very carefully. Mike and Mark, it's been a pleasure. I hope that you guys enjoyed my first live stream. I didn't disappoint. Hoping to do this more in the future as we do more Parody Press stuff. But I hope you guys all have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and hey, Ray Thulu, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming. And you guys take care. And if you guys want to see me, I'm hoping to pop on to Pete Sametti's open mic Monday, and I might need to take a little break and get some water and say hi to my family out there that just arrived. And I'm going to hope to pop into Pete's show for a little bit so we can show him X-FARCE. And hopefully, if he has time, he might be able to show our X-FARCE cinematic video that we're almost done with. It's like 99% there, and it's pretty funny. It's about 2 minutes long, and it's got we hired a Patrick Stewart voice actor, so it's I think it turned out pretty well. Anyways, I want to say good night from Northern California. God bless, and you guys take care. Thanks a lot.